I had the odd pleasure of viewing 1954's El Mascarado de Plata, directed by the legendary Mexican filmmaker Rene Cardona. Remember 1969's Night of the Bloody Apes? That Rene Cardona. Now, I had to learn a lot of context about this particular film. I know nearly next to nothing of the cultural trend which it is inspired from. Let's read the IMDb review, the sole IMDb user review. The Santo film that never quite happened, from Kikaida 7, from Kikaida, from 7th of June 2000. A historical perspective. This fairly obscure Mexican feature enjoys a rare distinction in that it was initially offered as a starring vehicle for El Santo, the man in the silver mask. Given the title, he was a natural for the role. Santo had been wrestling in Mexico for years under names like The Bat, The Second, Rudy Guzman, and Redman. Cast in the image of a fair-minded champion of the masses, a gimmick concocted by a savvy promoter, the wrestler finally found his niche when he adopted a pure silver mask. In the early 1950s, enterprising producers were searching for some new gimmick to draw in jaded audiences to the theaters, as lucha libre, free fighting, wrestling attracted a broad audience from across all social lines of its lively, flashy style and sometimes wild morality plays. The idea of placing a popular wrestler in a feature film seemed like a good idea. Santo, however, had his doubts, and reportedly suspecting the film would fail. He turned down the role, and the first luchador to appear in a lucha title was Hassan Ramirez, who made his first feature appearance in 1952. Not that Santo maintained his distance from film work. Beginning with two Cuban-produced features made around 1958, he increasingly divided his time between ring work and movies, making over 50 films before the lucha film boom died out in the late 1960s/early 1970s. This is the IMDb plot synopsis. This cult classic was director Rene Cardona's attempt to capitalize on the popularity of professional wrestling and on of its biggest stars of the 1950s, known as El Santo. However, it is not about wrestling. It chronicles the adventures of a crime-fighting duo known as El Enmascarado and De La Plata, the Silver Mask, and his adolescent sidekick Freckles, as they take on a murderous mad doctor and an evil gang leader called El Lobo, the Wolf. There's also the Tiger, right? I believe in this. It also features some low-budget but creative sci-fi type of special effects and was written by the creator of the El Santo comic book series. And I'd like to read out this review submitted on the blog B&S about movies, bands about movies, if you will. In 1952, Jose G. Cruz created a comic book that turned Santo into a Mexican hero. This series ran for 35 years and was the basis for the Santo films, yet before that, director Rene Cardona wanted to make this film. Santo decided to not be in this as he thought it would fail. Who can say if he was wrong or right? All we do know is that within a few years, Santo would be a movie star, so maybe he just knew how to pick the right scripts. This film is filled with villains. There's Lobo Negro and his street gang, there's a silver mask that gives the orders, and another villain in a hood named El Tigre that gives even more orders, but he's the one to listen to because he's figured out how to throw lightning and change the weather. You know, if you could do this, wouldn't you want to do it all the time? Well, El Tigre is more into being a traditional gangster, so perhaps he feels like having all these meteorological powers are kind of like cheating. Hey, check this out. Yeah, why not?